two favorite groups of herbs actually in the whole herbal category are the tonics and adaptogens. And really, quite honestly, I'm an herbalist who feels that those terms are very closely weld. A lot of herbalists really like to separate them, but when I look at the definition of what each of those are, to me they're very similar. So tonics are herbs that tone and feed and nourish the system. They can be specific medicines, but so they can be used specifically for colds and flus and digestion and heart issues. But generally, they're used for an overall building and toning, and there are everyday herbs. Adaptogens, by its scientific definition, means pretty much the same thing. They help our bodies adapt to modern day stresses. They can be used long term, generally with no side effects, and they work non-specifically on the body, but more through a toning and building action. And this category to me is probably the most important herbal group for people to use, because these are the herbs that our ancestors used all around the world. Of course, they had different tonics and adaptogens depending on their habitat and climate and all of that. But this was a group of this group of herbs that our ancestors used as everyday foods. And so some of the best ones that we can use today are herbs like ashwagandha, which comes from the Ayurvedic tradition, but which grows very well in this country. And it's a superior adaptogen herb that really helps us to come into our body and helps to calm us and also give us more energy, by the way. It does both. It works in that kind of amphoretic either-or action where it gives you energy, but also it calms your system. And then one of my very favorites is Nettle, which is, I think, one of our very best tonics. And people who are familiar with herbs know Nettle right now is kind of considered the queen of the herbs, and that's because herbs go through popularity like everything else does, and Nettle sort of climbed in popularity. I like to think I might have had a small part to do with that, but it probably had all to do with Nettle. But those people who don't know about herbs are always kind of shocked, because when they think of nettle, they're thinking of a plant that just gives you bad welts and you would never go near it, let alone eat it. But it's a very beneficent plant, and it's very nourishing. It's extremely high in vitamins and minerals. So as a tonic herb, it just feeds our system, you know. But then on that spiritual level that we were speaking about before, if you understand it, it has like this protective nature, and it's kind of gnarly, you know, like if you go near it and you're not respectful, it comes down and welts you. But if you know how to communicate with it, and again, it's something that anybody can do just by being conscious and taking time, that you can approach that herb and you can have a kind of an interaction with it, and then you're actually able to pick it without it stinging you, which always shocks my students. But you know, I always do this with my students. I go into a nettle patch and I say, if you're all respectful, if you pay attention, you can harvest this plant, you can put the leaves in your basket, but if you start to like wander with your mind and start talking to other people, it's going to get you. And so you see that all over and over again. But on a tonic level, it's a food, a medicine. It helps to tonify the reproductive system, the digestion, the blood. You know, it's just amazing herb. And then dandelion is another one of our traditional tonic herbs, and burdock. I mean, really, some of the most popular and famous herbs from cultures around the world are in this category, and it's a very large category, the tonics and adaptogens. So I like to put these two words together, these two categories together, because so often the research on the adaptogenic herbs is done on herbs that are exotic. They come from other countries and they don't always grow readily here. And I'm trying to show that actually we have a lot of these herbs right here. There are weedy plants. They have moved with us as we grow in communities. So as we move around this country and around the world, those plants grow near us. They're not the shy woodland plants. They're not tucked away. They come and colonize right next to us. They colonize the soil that we've messed up, you know, and they come and they reclaim that soil. So you'll find burdock and dandelion and nettle growing on these damaged soils to colonize and heal that soil, and also to heal and colonize us, to make us better humans. So yeah, they're just a great group of herbs. And those are the herbs I would say, especially for people who are feeling disconnected and stressed out and anxious, to start to incorporate those into your morning rituals. And if you need the caffeine, to slowly wean, but also there are some better caffeinated herbs that have less alkaloids. In other words, they may have caffeine, but they don't have the 13 other alkaloids that coffee might have. They're going to have a less stressful effect on the overall physical body. some of the tonic herbs are not in a form, like they're not, some of them we would say yes are the weedy plants that you can cook up and serve, but some of them really no. Like chamomile can be a tonic herb, you can use it over a long period of time, but it's not necessarily an herb that you're going to throw into your salad plate. If you're going to use it daily, you use it as a tea. And chamomile, I might say, is a really good example of a tonic herb that also crosses over into that other category, which is specific medicine. There's a lot of crossover between these two plants. So nettle, you can eat every day, you can drink it as tea, you can use it as tincture, but also you would use it as specific medicine. But there's very few herbs in that powerful medicine category. I can't think of any that you would ever move down into the tonic category. They're not tonics or adaptogens. They're very specific for health issues.
Okay.
Yeah. So that isn't what differentiates between a tonic and adaptogen, because you can what I meant to imply is that they can be used every day, not necessarily chopped up in your food, but as teas, as tonic remedies that you might take as syrups or even tinctures. So they're not going to have a harmful effect on the body if you use them long term.